So while we are focused on the Ukraine aid portion of the appropriations bill passed today, there are other portions, including aid to Israel and to Gaza, as well as Taiwan and the Indo-Pacific. However, buried in the bill is a major threat to the medium I communicate to you all on, and that is TikTok. This aid package legislation contains provisions that could lead to a nationwide TikTok ban unless its Chinese owner, ByteDance, sells the app. Now, the Senate may vote on this bill as soon as a day or two. Now, this TikTok bill differs from previous one in one very specific area, and it makes this legislation more dangerous for TikTok and its creators and their ability to create content in the future. That reason is this legislation is a part of the larger bill that contains the very popular foreign aid to those countries I just spoke about. So it is likely to pass. Now, this bill does extend the deadline for TikTok to find a buyer to a year from 6 months, but at the end of that year, if a buyer is not found, I may not be creating on this app anymore. In addition, President Biden supports this bill. If passed, it would be the first US law that could shut down an entire social media platform in this country, which will likely lead to some pretty lengthy legal battles. TikTok has obviously criticized the bill as an unconstitutional attack. TikTok's spokesperson, Alex Horick, expressed disappointment that the House is pushing this ban under the guise of important foreign aid to Ukraine, claiming it infringes on the free speech rights of 170 million Americans. Concerns from U.S. national security officials about potential Chinese government propaganda and spying through TikTok have fueled this crackdown, although these concerns have often just been hypothetical. Despite TikTok's claims of firewalls between its Los Angeles headquarters and its Beijing parent company, and the evidence that they've provided that remains there, there are legitimate fears that the US and its users' data might still be accessible by China. Like I said before, the recently passed House bill does give TikTok up to a year to find a buyer or find a solution. This is an extension from the original 6-month deadline. However, the question remains about what a buyer would actually be getting here, especially since TikTok's vital algorithm, the thing that is most valuable to anyone who wants to buy TikTok, is controlled by China. It is on the China export control list, meaning the Chinese Communist Party isn't going to allow the sale of this no matter what. James Lewis from the Center for Strategic and International Studies pointed out that Beijing is unlikely to allow the sale of the algorithm, making any deal potentially meaningless to companies that are interested. Furthermore, the very high valuation of TikTok makes it really a challenging acquisition target, with only a few companies being able to throw their hat into the ring here. It's only really feasible for tech firms like Meta, who already owns Instagram, and Alphabet, who's the parent company of Google, who owns YouTube, which, if they buy it, could face antitrust scrutiny. There may be interest from Apple or Microsoft, as they do not have a social media presence and they have a huge amount of money, but that is not really their forte. With a valuation of $100 billion, the app is likely out of reach for Twitter, which aka X. But again, this may all be moot because China may not allow for the release of the very valuable algorithm. So who knows what next year will look like with this whole situation. And I ask you once again, please follow me on YouTube, because unfortunately Instagram doesn't allow for long form content. I may look at X to post video content, but I'm not sure what to expect there. Either way, the only alternative I have right now is YouTube. And that YouTube channel is at CPScott16. Again, it's at CPScott16. So if you would like to, please follow me there. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope you have a good evening, everyone.